Yo, what's up with y'all boys? Welcome back to the Controversial Calls YouTube channel. With that being said, y'all go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the link in the bio, click the link in the description. Both links send you to the same thing. It's a link to my Discord, my YouTube channel, you're already here, TikTok, Instagram. And if you want to collab, it's also my email address. With that being said, we have the privilege to rank the projected 32 NFL starting running backs, right? So I just dropped my quarterback one. It was a bit of a debate. You know, some people liked the list, some people didn't. Some people think some people could have been higher. Some thought they were a bit too low. Some people thought they were right where they needed to be. With that being said, it's always a debate. It's always fun ranking players. Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. If we're lucky enough, about time we're done, there might be some preseason games finished and wrapped up that we could react to live on this channel. With that being said, let's get into it.
Will you be remembered? How would you be remembered? Why wouldn't you fight for the greatest achievement ever? Leave your mark.
All right. So, we're not even going to waste no time. We're going to go ahead and start reacting. Oh, also, I wanted to say, if you run across this and you want to join the fantasy team or the fantasy league, as you see, there's only one spot left. One spot left for the taking. Team 9. If you want to take the spot, just hit me up. You feel what I'm saying? Just hit me up in the DM. Just let me know something. Just say, hey, let me join. I promise you a DM will be sent your way. With that being said, let's go ahead and start ranking these guys from 1 to 32. Before we do that, I just got off work. I just want to see the scores. I just want to see the preseason scores. So let's see what these scores looking like. Not like they mean anything, but all right. Chargers, Texans, 10-7. Okay. They're all pretty decent right now. Yeah, I mean, you don't expect really any high-scoring preseason games. But let's go ahead and get over here to the 32 running backs. Let me make my screen. Matter of fact, let me just put myself in this top right corner. We'll do top. Should I do bottom left? I think top right is good. Top right is good. I'm not blocking nothing right now. All right. So we're going to go over the names. And I got them pretty much division-wise. That's how I put them in order. So here we have Devon A-Chain. This is all the AFC East. Devon A-Chain, Breece Hall, Travion Henderson, James Cook. Then we have J.K. Dobbins. I feel like I'm tripped. We have J.K. Dobbins. Okay, nah, we good. J.K. Dobbins, K9, Genty, and Omarion Hampton representing the AFC West. Then, Omarion Hampton. Then, the Jaguars running game or their running back situation is a bit weird. Reportedly, their starter is Chris Rodriguez, but he's been out the entire offseason nursing an injury, I believe. So I just put Scootin' Tootin in his spot. And we got him, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, and Jonathan Taylor to represent their teams in the AFC South. And then in the AFC North, we have Jalen Warren, Chase Brown, Quinshon Judkins, and of course, Derrick Henry. That wraps up the AFC, and now let's get to the NFC with Bijan Robinson, Travis A-Chain, Bucky Irvin, and Chuba Hubbard for the NFC South. Then we have Jeremiah Love, Christian McCaffrey, Jadarian Price. I keep wanting to say Prince. And Kyron Williams representing their teams in the NFC West. We have DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, and Jahmyr Gibbs for the NFC North. And last, we have Ja'Cory, a.k.a. Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Cam Scatterbo, Saquon Barkley, and Javonte Williams representing the NFC East. So, with that being said, let's get to ranking these guys. Like I said, if you're watching and you think someone isn't where they need to be, just comment. Go ahead, comment in the chat. Or if you want, I have a Discord. You feel what I'm saying? We could talk it out. We could talk it. Yo, what's up? We could talk about it. If you feel like someone is rated or underrated, or if there's a debate between two, we could talk about it in Discord. But with that being said, let's get to it. Let's move chat over here. There we go. All right, we good. All right, so starting off this list, obviously we're going 32-1. It's kind of hard, right? Because you have a mix of some rookies in here. And then you have some running backs who never really took the starting role before. So with that being said, at 32, mind you, I did not make this list. I made this list, but this isn't scripted. This is off the top of my head. What you see is how I'm feeling in the moment. All right, at 32, I want to just put Tootin there. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to just put Tootin at 32. Because I don't feel like that he's not even the projected starter. It's Chris Rodriguez, but even then still, he's a solid back. I just never seen him take on a boatload of the carries. Especially in Jacksonville when A-Chain was there. Travis A-Chain, it was mainly the Travis A-Chain show. So we're going to put Tootin at 32. No disrespect to him. He has a lot of potential to be good in this league. But we'll see how he continues to grow as a young back in this league. All right. At 31, I'm just going to go ahead and put Jadarian Price. Haven't seen him, we haven't seen him in the league. That's really it. Just haven't seen him in the league. Obviously, he has the talent. Last pick of this year's first round draft. He has the talent to be good in this league. I just got to see it on the field. And that's why Jeremiah Love is also going to go here. I guess by that logic, I should just put those two last and put Tootin at 30. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just make the two rookies automatically 32 and 31 until we see it actually on the field, regular season. All right, after this is where the list really begins. All right, so at the 29th spot, this is a talented group of running backs I'm looking at. I'm going to keep it a bean. I don't want to do it to him because he's my running back. But as I look up and down this list, when we're talking about a combination of accolades, talent, and production, there's only two guys right here that could take this 29 spot. One is going to have to be Bill, and the other can be Cam Scatterbo. Now, the argument with Bill being above Cam is it seems like he's a more agile runner. Him being a 7th round pick, he had limited touches and he still found a way to get to 805 yards and 7 touchdowns. And the argument with Cam Scatterbo is he's had monster games last year where he was pretty much a one-man offense. And his physicality is infectious. And we saw it multiple times last year, notably against the Eagles. But at the 28th spot, I'm going to put Bill there. Do I want to put Bill there at 28 and Cam at 27? They're really interchangeable to me. you can make an argument for both. I'm gonna put Bill at 28 and Cam at 27 because Bill, as a running back, you just can't be coughing up the ball. And Bill did have a serious fumbling problem last year. He would cough up the ball. And that's really the main reason I have Cam above Bill. I think as far as potential, who could be better in the long run, I would take Bill, but right now I'm going to just say Cam. But that could easily change as early as like week 2, week 3. All right, so let's move on to 26. Who is the 26th best running back in the league? It's a lot of talented guys up here. At 26, this is tough. I didn't realize making these lists are so tough because when I say someone is the 26th best running back, like, it's no disrespect. You know, there's no disrespect. It's just someone has to take the spot. That's really it. Someone has to take the spot. Who's going to take the spot here? I'm going to keep it a bean. Over the past couple seasons, Aaron Jones has not looked good to me. Over the previous couple seasons, Aaron Jones has lost a step. And it's been obvious. So I think at 26, I'm going to put Aaron Jones. Not only has he lost a step, but it seems like every time I look up, Aaron Jones is off the field with some sort of injury. And as a running back, your durability and your availability with any player on the team really is very important. I respect Aaron Jones, though. He's had a really good career, but I'm going to just have to put him at 26 because, like I said, he's lost a step. He's been injured. He's been often injured, and that's why he's going to be 26 for me. At 25, I like J.K. Dobbins, but I think J.K. is going to have to take the 25 spot. And it's less of J.K. Dobbins, it's more so who's on this list. When you look at the running backs on this list, like I said earlier, very talented select group of backs. Like, when you look at this list, you see a bunch of running backs that are probably it's going to feel like I'm disrespecting them. It's going to feel like I'm disrespecting them. But it's just more so it's a lot of talent in the league. Every year we see more and more talent in the league. And this is a league where, every year it seems like players are playing longer and longer. Longevity is starting to become a huge factor in the sense of players are playing longer than they ever did. And that's because of the upgraded doctors and all the science and all the health tips that they get, eating better, treating their bodies better. And when players are still playing at a high level and you add younger players who can play at a high level, it just makes a huge whirlpool of talent. And it's just drowning in talent right now. So that's why I got JK at 25. At 24, I was looking at someone. Who was I looking at? Who was I looking at 24? Not gonna lie, man. I like Quinshon Judkins. I think if Quinshon Judkins didn't go down, he would have been the best rookie running back last year. And you could argue he still was. Quinshon Judkins is... I love running backs like Quinshon Judkins where you can't put them in a box. He has a beautiful collection of speed, or a beautiful combination of speed, power, strength, and size. And that's just what I love in a running back. Now, the thing is, with him coming off of, I think it was an ACL tear, with him coming off of that, we're going to see how he bounces back. He's very young. Last year was his rookie year, and he had a phenomenal rookie year. He had multiple games where he looked like one of the better young rushers in the league, and I do think he is one of the better young rushers in the league. But we're going to see how he looks this oncoming season. Right now, I have him at 24. I might put someone else at 24. Who knows? At 23. At 23. At 23, I'm going to go TP. Tony Pollard, let's do something real quick. Tony Pollard is a running back that has been in the league. He's slick been in the league for almost a decade now. Tony Pollard has been in the league since 19? Tony Pollard was drafted in 2019. So Tony Pollard has been in the league for almost a decade. And I remember when he was with Dallas, he produced well in his role. I feel like ever since he got to Tennessee, he's produced also. But you see the limitations with Tony Pollard. Like here, he still put up 1,000 yards last year, right? But when I think of Tony Pollard, I think of just a solid running back. I don't think of him being nothing special. I don't think he's this bell horse that you could, continuously just run into the ground. But Tony Pollard is a solid back. I didn't even recognize he's going to hit 30 next year. Not this season. This season he's going to play it out at 29. But it's just, like I said earlier, it's just a bunch of talent in the league. That's why Tony Pollard, for me, is at what? 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. That's why he's at 24 for me. Just a really solid back. And I don't have nothing bad to say about Tony Pollard. He does it through the air and on the ground. At 23, there's two people I'm looking at here. I'm looking at Bucky Irvin, and I'm looking at Chuba Hubbard. I'm trying to make sure there's no one else I need to consider. Nah. I think I'm going to put Bucky Irvin at 23 and Chuba at 22. When we look at Bucky Irvin came in as a rookie, and he had a really good year. He was a dual threat running back as far as being able to catch it out of the air and on the ground. His biggest issues is staying healthy. And I'm a guy, I value availability. Now, if you're one of the top players at your position and you can't stay healthy, I'm going to still rank you as one of the top players at your respective position, but that's going to knock you down a couple spots. Like, availability is knocking Bucky Irvin down a couple spots. Bucky Irvin is a really good back. He just has to stay on the field. And as far as Chuba Hubbard, similar to Tony Pollard, I think they have similar playing styles. I just think they're both really solid backs. Like, there's nothing bad I need to say about Chuba Hubbard in order to, this is why I knocked him down. There's nothing bad I can say about Chuba Hubbard, truth be told. And then finishing out this part, right? This is 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. Finishing out at the 21 spot. Finishing out at the 21st spot has to be Josh Jacobs. Nah, I'm playing. I'm just joking. It's not Josh Jacobs. I'm thinking about putting Ashton Jeanty here. Now, I was thinking about knocking Ashton down a bit. Truth be told. But we all know what Ashton Jeanty can be. We all seen the potential. We've all seen it in spurts in the NFL. And last season, that's like me knocking Saquon down because his offensive line wasn't that good last year. I've seen Saquon perform. Saquon is still one of the best backs in the league. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm not finna sit here and knock Ashton Jeanty down because of his offensive line. when Ashton Genty gets the chance to, he's a bruiser who has a good amount of speed. He can also catch it out of the backfield. That's an underrated aspect of his game. He can also catch it out of the backfield. So I think Ashton Genty at 21 is fair because at the same time, I'm not going to say he hasn't produced in the league, but if I do say that, it's not his fault whatsoever. He was just surrounded with some horrendous O-line play last year. And the passing game wasn't much better. You didn't have to respect the Raiders' passing game. So if there was one aspect of the Raiders you were going to stop, it was definitely going to be the run game to make them one-dimensional. So that's why I'm going to keep Ashton at 21. I definitely think by the end of the season, if everything goes well, he could definitely be in this range, 6 through 10, because that's just the amount of potential he has. That's how good Ashton Genty could be. Now, as I sit back here and I overlook this list, I continue to look at this list, Aaron Jones sitting here does not sit well with me. In a sense, I think he needs to be lower. I'm not going to lie, bro. I'm not a big Aaron Jones fan. And like I said, he's an older back who can't really stay healthy. Aaron Jones, I just think these two deserve the nod above him. If I had a team and they said right now, who am I taking? I would take the two guys above him instead of Aaron Jones, me personally. So Aaron Jones is now 28. Okay. All right. At 20. Boy, it's finna get real grimy. Boy. All right. At 20. Whoo. Boy. There's a couple people in contention for 20. We have Travion Henderson, Jaylen Warren, and Chase Brown. DeAndre Swift, you might be in contention too. All right. So, for 20, I'm looking at these last four guys. Swift, Brown, Warren, Henderson. All four are very good backs. Travion Henderson is obviously the youngest of them. Let me tell you my argument on why all four are here. Travion Henderson, I felt like after the Patriots play, I forgot who it was, but Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson fumbled like a combined 3 times in the game. I think it was the Steelers game last year. They should have gave the reins to Travion Henderson after that, right? But in the limited reps Travion Henderson got, Travion Henderson made the best of them, whether it was through the air, on the ground, or even special teams. Travion Henderson was just electric. But his knock is just the limited reps. All these other 3 guys have way more reps. And not only more reps, but we at least have seen a full season of all of them as the number 1 back. Jaylen Warren. The reason Jaylen Warren is in consideration, and it's the same with all 3 of these guys, it's just the guys above them are better. The guys above them are just better. Truth be told, that's why they're in consideration. It's really just a matter of who goes where. I think right now, I'm gonna put Travion Henderson at 20. I think Travion Henderson. Let me put this on the record. I think Travion Henderson. I don't really think he's the 20th best back, but just going based off the limited stats, we haven't seen him as a lead back, and we don't. Hopefully, we see him as a lead back this year. But like I said, hopefully we see him as the lead back, and once we do that, then I could be able to rank him more. I could rank him more accurately. But right now, based off the limited snaps and whatnot, Travion Henderson is going to be 20. Here, I'm gonna put DeAndre Swift at 19. Elusive back when he's playing the Washington Commanders or the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them. Whenever he's playing Washington, he's the best running back in the league. But on a serious note, he got knocked a lot about his vision and whatnot. And while he does still have vision issues, once DeAndre Swift gets it going, he's a tough back to stop. He's elusive, he's fast, he can catch the ball. He's just a good overall back. He has his flaws though. At 18, I think I would take Jaylen Warren over Chase Brown. Look, you can make the argument for any of these guys being above the other. I'm not gonna sit here and just beat a dead horse. Like, all these guys, you can argue for each other. Now, I'm kind of upset that I didn't rank Rico Dowdle, but I did just want to keep it to the starters. And even if Jaylen Warren and Rico Dowdle split snaps, most of the time it's going to be Jaylen Warren who gets majority of the snaps. So that's what I went based off of. That's why Rico Dowdle is right here, and that's why Jaylen Warren is up here. All right. At 16, he had a let's see. The argument is between Monty and Javonte Williams. Now, a lot of people might be like, why is Monty in the argument with Javonte Williams? Hey, Monty hasn't been a lead back since his early days in Chicago, right? Javonte Williams was the back in Dallas, and he had his best year of his career. Now, you could say, oh, well, the passing game was elite, and that made defenses game plan to stop the pass, and that made them more susceptible to stop the run. He just benefited off of a great scheme, a great passing scheme. Monty, like I was saying, he has never really been just a bell cow since his early days in Chicago. Now, early in Detroit, when Jahmyr Gibbs got there, he was still getting majority of the snaps. But as time went, it was obvious that was Jahmyr Gibbs' backfield. So that's why they got rid of him this offseason. So with that being said, I think Monty, whoa, hold on. Amarion Hampton almost snuck past me. I'm gonna put Amarion Hampton here for right now. We gonna put him there. Hold on, bro. Hold on. Amarion Hampton almost snuck past me, bro. Amarion Hampton. Amarion Hampton had a good year. He had injury concerns too. This is what we'll do. We're gonna put Genty up there. We're gonna put Amarion right there. Okay. I like that a bit better. Okay. So now we're at 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Okay. I like that a bit better. At 15, we're going to go Monty. Him and Javonte kind of play with a similar style. They're both bruisers. They're not going to run past you. Funny thing about me saying that, Monty actually dropped, 10, 15 pounds this offseason to become slimmer and more elusive in that Texans offense. So we're going to see how that affects his play, whether it's for the better or for the worse. But right now, I would take Javonte Williams over Monty. Yes, Javonte Williams had one good season. Yes, he's been injured for a majority of his career. But he also bounced back. Like I said, he had the best year of his career. And my argument for Javonte Williams is, if he's still in that Dallas offense that still has George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, and a healthy Dak Prescott, why wouldn't he be able to replicate the season he had last year? In Houston, we don't know what Monty's going to do, because that offensive line, while they did improve on paper, we have to see it on the field. That's my biggest argument. So at 15, we have Monty. At 14, oh my gosh. My bad, y'all. At 14, we have Javonte Williams. At 13. Wow, man. At 13, all right. Wow. This running back list is finna get very tough to do. At 13, decisions. It's a couple guys I'm looking at. Okay, I think I know who I want to go at 13. At 13, I'ma go. Ah, we gonna go with ETN. We gonna go. This is Trevor ETN, right? Hold on, cause they be confusing me. Ever since his brothers came into the league, I've been getting confused on the. No, that's Travis. That's Travis Etienne or A Chain. Yeah, that's Travis. Okay, all right, we good. I almost stopped streaming. Travis A Chain is at 13. I think in Seattle. I'm not in Seattle. I think in New Orleans. I think that New Orleans offense is a firecracker ready or a firework ready to oh my gosh. I think that New Orleans offense is a firework ready to be lit. Cause the talent that they have surrounding Tyler Shuck, if he takes that second year leap, mind you, he's already 27. He came in as a 26-year-old rookie. If he takes that second year leap, the talent that they have around him, it could make for a very dangerous offense that I feel like a lot of people aren't prepared for. And one of those special proponents of that offense is Travis A-Chain. And I think his ability to run it and catch it is really going to help that New Orleans Saints offense. He's like a younger version of Alvin Kamara. And they could really use that, especially with a second-year quarterback. Running backs are usually one of their go-to guys. So I think Travis A-Chain, him being at 13 right now, I like the spot, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a little higher. At 12, it's between these two. Is it really? At 12, I think at 12, I want to go Kyron. And at 11, I want to go Josh. I wouldn't be mad if you flip-flopped them. I just think Josh is the better running back. Not by much, obviously, but I just do think Josh is the better running back. The biggest argument against Josh Jacobs is his injury concerns. He finds a way to stay off the field. It never fails. Josh Jacobs is going to find a way to not play. He's injured now, I believe. Yeah, he's injured now. So, and also he has his off the field issues, but I'm talking about him on the field. But with that being said, I kind of just made myself go with Kyron instead. I like Josh Jacobs. I think Kyron Williams gets the nod, though. Kyron stays on the field. He's a huge proponent. When people talk about the Rams offense, he's usually one of the last names to get brought up. When you talk about Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, then it's Kyron Williams. He's very important because not only does he stabilize that run game, him and Blake Corum, but he also brings a different level to that pass game. So I think he's one of those running backs that is kind of underappreciated a bit. He just signed a nice extension to stay with the Rams for a couple more seasons, and I think he's going to produce while he's there. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. Okay. 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. All right. So This is how 11 through 20, 11 through 32 is looking right now. I'm not mad at my list whatsoever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not mad at my list at all right now. I think it's a pretty solid list. This is where things start to get grimy though. Going from 10 to 1. However, I know who I want at 10. At 10, give me K9 at 10. Super Bowl MVP. Yes. He is the Super Bowl MVP. He had a very strong end to his Seattle tenure. However, there's a knock to K9. If you go on social media, I kid you not, people say it's always either a 2-yard run or a 20-yard run with K9. It is not in between. K9 is a really good back, but just like other players in the league, he's streaky. K9 will have a great year one year, and then next year you're looking for K9. Where is K9? Is he on the field? Is he injured? What's going on with K9, right? And that seems like it's been the story of his career since coming in the league. He's always off and on. He has the potential to be a premier back, but it's always something holding him back. Like last year, K9 would get going, and then they would sub him out for Zach Charbonnet. Him and Zach Charbonnet was splitting carries. And I knew all along the reason why they were splitting carries, they weren't going to bring K9 back. And to me, they just wanted to see if Charbonnet could handle a bigger load, in which he showed that he could, which made them feel better about letting K9 go. But I feel like K9 is a top 10 back. A fringe top 10 back, but a top 10 back nonetheless. And I think 10 is a really good spot for him right now, especially after the end of last season. At 9, give me Breece Hall. Breece Hall at 9, I think is fair. His biggest concerns is staying on the field. Also, you could flip-flop him and K9. I wouldn't be mad. K9 could be a 9. Breece could be a 10. Breece could be a 9. K9 could be a 10. I wouldn't be upset. I think they're both in a similar tier. I do think Breece is just a tiny bit more explosive, and that's what gives me the nod for K9. Oh, not K9, but Breece over K9. But like I said, they're really two of the same, in my opinion. At 8, this is where things are finna get real grimy. A lot of people not gonna like 8 through 1. Whether it's perfect or they think I got it all the way wrong. People aren't gonna like this. Alright, so let's get to it. At 8, right? Oh boy. At 8. Did he lead the league in rushing? Yes, he did. He did lead the league in rushing. Shout out James Cook. That's not going to stop me from putting him at 8. Look, bro. When I look at the other 7 guys on this list, I just don't see a guy that he's better than. And that's me being respectful. Him being the 8th best running back in the league is not a knock on him whatsoever. Not at all. James Cook is like that. James Cook is definitely like that. That's why he led the league in rushing last year. The rest of these guys, I really don't have a knock for them. I just don't think James Cook is better than majority of these guys on here. Or nobody else above him that's going to be above him from this point. All right, at 7. At 7. Oh my gosh. Oh, you can make an argument for all these guys to be top 5, including James Cook. You can make the argument. So, it's tough. I'm going to keep it a bean. This is very tough. But it has to be did, right? At 7, JT. Look, man. JT had a real strong start to last season. Boy, I'm talking about dancing all over the field and stuff. Leading one of the best Lee won the best offenses to start off last year in that Colts offense. Won the best rushing attacks last year. But as the Colts plateaued, so did JT. Once they hit around week 10, week 11, things just started going downwards for them. And with that being said, this is my second time doing this. I might swap JT and James Cook. I think I'm going to do that. Just out of respect to James Cook leading the league in rushing last year. So I got JT at 8, James Cook at 7 now. Really, there's no knock to JT's game. The biggest knock to his game over his career, just like a lot of these running backs, has really been durability, staying on the field. When you're a running back and you're getting 300-400 touches a year, you're bound to get banged up. It is that simple. So that's really been his biggest knock. But when JT is healthy, boy, he is a force to be reckoned with. At 6. At 6, right? At 6. I see a lot of guys that, all these guys you can argue are top 5, right? I really don't want to put no one at 6. I wish they could all be 1 through 5, truth be told. I could pick then. But in order to get to that point, someone has to be 6. Devon Achane. Devon Achane at 6, I don't know. Henry at 6, that's tough. Bijan, definitely not. Gibbs, definitely not. Barkley. Oh my gosh. This is tough. All right, I'm going to tell you who I'm knocking it down between, right? Saquon and Christian McCaffrey. Now, if I would have said this after the 2024 season, people would have looked at me crazy. They would have said, bro, what are you talking about? Just stop creating content, right? But Christian McCaffrey, we've known this ever since he got in the league. Christian McCaffrey, when we talk about dual threat running backs, is the best in the league to do it. He's the best, and arguably the best to ever do it when we talk about the ability to be a catcher and a runner of the ball. He cannot stay on the field. That's Christian McCaffrey's biggest issue. Now, the reason Saquon is in this argument is because last year was a down year, but it was a down year for that entire Eagles team. That entire Eagles team had a down year last year. So I don't know if I want to charge that to Saquon or what. Right now at 6, I don't want to do it whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to do it. But I'm going to have to put Christian McCaffrey at 6, and that is strictly because of health concerns. If it wasn't for that, Christian McCaffrey probably is a top 5 back. He probably is a top 5 back. And even then, matter of fact, let's look up Christian McCaffrey's stats last year. Let's look up his stats last year in the 2025 season. Let's look up his stats, right? Okay. Matter of fact, I forgot. He played all 17 games last year. I think I got to give the nod to Christian. I forgot. Last year was like an anomaly for him. He played all 17. Let's go back. I want to look at his career. Let me go full screen. Christian McCaffrey played all 17 games last year. All right, so where are we at? So when we look at Christian McCaffrey, he started off good, and then starting 2020 is when his injury concerns really started. But when you look at these stats, Christian McCaffrey had 1,000 on the ground, 1,200 on the ground, and 900 through the air. Now, you can sit here and say, oh, well, on the ground, he only averaged 3.9 a tote. Bro, he was the offense. Christian McCaffrey was the offense. He was the offense. I think I'm gonna to give the nod to him and put C-Mac at 5. Lord have mercy. Matter of fact, let's see what Saquon was looking like. This is tough. This is tougher than the quarterback one. This is tougher than the quarterback one. Let's look. Saquon averaged 4.1. He only had 273 through the air. Right now, I'm going to have to put Saquon at 6. Obviously, when we saw it 2 seasons ago, when Saquon has the ability to, he can easily be the best running back in the league. It's just last year was such a down year for that Eagles offense. It obviously knocked Saquon down a couple spots. So I'm gonna put Saquon at 6, C-Mac at 5, right? At 4. Oh boy. I think most of y'all know who 1 and 2 is. Who the argument between 1 and 2 is. So that would mean 3 and 4 is really between Derrick Henry and Devon Achane. Now, Derrick Henry, he obviously has the longevity. But if we're talking now, right, I don't know if I could take Derrick Henry over Devon Achane. And the reason why I say that, Derrick Henry, as a pure runner, is obviously he's one of the best to ever do it. Devon Achane, as a pure runner, is one of the best in the league, though. And the gap between them, as far as being receiving backs, Devon Achane wins that considerably. So I think right now, even though he was second in the league in rushing last year, I'm going to put Derrick Henry at 4. Devon Achane at 3. Think I'm going to put Devon Achane at 3. Because, let's just... And I don't like relying on stats a lot, but Devon Achane had a really good year last year. He had 1350 on the ground and pretty much 500 through the air. And when we look at Derrick Henry, right? 32 years old, still going strong, right? He had 1,600 through on the ground, right? But he only added 150 through the air. Now, Derrick Henry doesn't have to do much through the air because he's Derrick Henry, but me personally, I value the ability to be a dual threat back. Now, the reason Derrick Henry is above Christian McCaffrey is because and this is the thing about making this list. I could say something like I just said about Derrick and Devon, but if I use that same logic, technically Christian McCaffrey would be above both of them. But when I look at them as backs, Christian McCaffrey, when I see him on the field, he's lost a step as far as his ability as an athlete. It's a huge difference watching Christian McCaffrey now versus years ago or even a couple seasons ago. So I think Christian McCaffrey as an athlete has lost a step, and I don't think that's the case with the other two. Even if Derrick Henry lost a step as an athlete, he's still a better athlete than Christian McCaffrey now. So I would still take Derrick Henry. Then here, I would take Devon Achane. At 2, it's crazy, right? It's crazy because these two will always be linked to each other. They both came out of the 2023 draft, I want to say. It might have been 2022 draft. Either way, Bijan was drafted at 8, I want to say. Bijan was drafted at 8. And let's see. Yeah, Bijan was drafted at 8. And Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted shortly after at 12. A lot of people thought the Lions reached for Jahmyr Gibbs, right? But, yeah, it was 2023. early in their careers, it was consensus that Jahmyr Gibbs was the better back because of how they performed early in the league. Jahmyr Gibbs, starting from day one in that backfield, he looked like the elite out of the two. But as time has went, Bijan has gained a footing in Atlanta. I'm not going to say obviously, but he's the best back in the league. When you, like, so obviously with me saying that, Jahmyr is at 2, Bijan's at 1. They both got their well-earned contract extension too. Bijan is just, when we talk about generational backs, which is a term that I feel like is thrown around too much, Bijan is one of one, bro. The things Bijan can do on a football field and his combination of everything, it's generational. He's one of one. Jahmyr Gibbs is not far behind though. He's also a generational talent. And I just think the NFL, as far as the running back position, are in very bright hands for a long time with these two. Being the ones to tote the rock and take the crown of being the top backs. Even if they regress a bit this year, they'll still be top 5 backs. And as far as the entire list, let's go over the list, right? I'm not gonna say no names. I'm just gonna look at this list. I like my top 5. I like my top 10 overall. I like everything about this list. If there's anything I would change, is there anything I would change? Not really. I like this list. I think this is a fair list. I think it's a good list. With that being said, y'all let me know what y'all think. I know some people not gonna agree with it. That's fine. That's the point of a debate. That's the point of putting it out to the internet. You know, allowing people to share their opinion. We're not gonna agree with everything, and that's cool. I don't want us to agree with everything. You have your argument. I have mine. Let's talk about it. And yeah, with that being said, link in bio to my TikTok, Instagram, Discord, and my email. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And with that being said, I'm out.
Will you be remembered? How would you be remembered? Why wouldn't you fight for the greatest achievement ever? Leave your mark.